Hello and thanks for joining us. Welcome to Standard Voice Television News. I am Rahama Ibrahim Jusara. President Bola Tinubu met with governors elected on the platform of the All Progressives Congress at the State House in Abuja on Wednesday. The meeting comes ahead of Thursday's APC National Executive Committee session at the State House Banquet Hall. Governor Hope Uzodinma, who chairs the Progressive Governors Forum, led his colleagues to the closed-door meeting. Speaking to State House correspondent shortly after the meeting, Hope Uzodinma said the meeting aimed to strengthen the party and enhance its capacity to deliver good governance to Nigerians. He noted that the governors, as sub-national leaders, met to align with the president on party direction and governance priorities. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Professor Ntawe Goshwe Yilwachda, has emerged the new national chairman of the All Progressive Congress (APC). Yilwachda's emergence has finally led to rest the intense speculations over who replaces the immediate past national chairman Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, who resigned from the position on health grounds. His appointment came ahead of National Executive Committee NEC meeting of the ruling party after the stakeholders parley involving President Bola Tinubu, the APC Progressive Governors Forum, among others, held at the Aso Rock Presidential Villa on Wednesday night. It quotes an unnamed member of APC's National Working Committee as disclosing that Professor Yilwachda's appointment on the decision of the party leaders to ensure that a Democrat takes over the affairs of the party instead of the hitherto regular politicians that have superintended over the party previously. A faction of the Zamfara State House of Assembly has accused Governor Dauda Lawal of neglecting citizens amid worsening security across the state. At a sitting on Wednesday, Speaker Bashir Ali Yugumi condemned the governor for failing to commiserate with victims of recent attacks and instead proceeding on vacations while communities were under siege. Gumi cited several attacks within 1 week in Jengebe of Talata Mafara and Demri of Bakura, Kembarawa of Kauren Namuda and Bungudu, where hundreds of residents were reportedly killed or abducted. The lawmakers expressed dismay that no relief or condolence came from state government despite the violence displacements meted out to thousands. In separate contributions, members including Aliyu Ango Kagara, Ibrahim Tudutukur, Bashir Bello Sarki Zango, and Faruk Musa Dusara criticized the governor for allegedly mismanaging the state security vote and failing to support community protection groups. They called for increased funding for CPGs, prompt payment of death benefits to families of slain personnel, and deployments of more security forces to vulnerable areas. The lawmakers also raised concerns about the alleged diversion of donor funds from agencies like Agile, CSDA, and Akrasal, and demanded a probe into the utilization of these resources. A committee chaired by Aliyu Kagara was constituted to investigate the financial inflows and disbursements from donor agencies with a mandate to report back to the House. In a separate motion, the Assembly discussed creating new local government areas to address administrative challenges and improve governance. The proposed councils include Nsado, Sauri, Mada, Jengebe, and Damri, among others, which would be carved out of existing LGAs across the state. Meanwhile, the Zamfara state government has described as baseless and unfounded the recent allegations by a so-called parallel state assembly, which accused Governor Dauda Lawal of neglecting victims of bandit attacks. Mustafa Jafaruk Aura, the Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Broadcast Media and Public Relations, while reacting to the allegations, said the accusers lacked legal standing and had already been barred from acting as lawmakers by a court order. He explained that Zamfara State High Court, presided over by Justice Muhammad Gusau, had on June 23, 2025, issued a restraining order against Bashir Aliyu and 8 others, stopping them from parading themselves as Speaker and members of the State House of Assembly, respectively. Kaura said although any citizen has a right to raise legitimate concerns about governance, the current allegations nevertheless lacked credibility and were being peddled by individuals who are not legally recognized by the court. He also dismissed the claim that the Zamfara state government ignored recent attacks in Jangibi and Damri communities in Talata Mafara and Bakura local governments, insisting that the administration had responded promptly and with compassion. Hundreds of people who have been dispersed by the bandits from over 30 communities on the Gusau local government area of Zamfara state have staged a joint massive protest calling for Governor Dauda Lawal's intervention with a view to safeguard their lives and property. Speaking to journalists during the protest, a protester who identified himself as Usman Lawali said over 1,000 armed bandits had on Tuesday evening launched a simultaneous merciless attacks across over 30 communities, killing unidentified number of persons and abducted yet to be identified number of others. Lawali said the affected communities include Wonaka, Kanawa, Chuna, Ruwamburi, Fegemahi, Ladias Ona, Kundumau, Bita, Adja, Oshia, Tudunwada, Gangara and Angulawa, among many others. He said all the affected villages have been under full control of bandits, as there is not a single security agent deployed to the village that would dismiss a claim that the villages had since become ungovernable despite their existence under Gusau, the state capital. An old man identified himself as Malam Mande, who cried that his 3 children had been killed by the bandits. He is currently suffering lack of food and shelter because nobody would take care of him apart from his late 3 children. Inscribed on a number of placards displayed by the teeming protesters, communicated that the dispersed community were not after any infrastructural project, but just to live peaceful so that they could be able to work on their abandoned farmlands. Responding to journalists, Gusau Local Government Area Chairman Abubakar Imam, through Vice Chairman Aminu Wakili Mada, said the council was doing everything humanly possible to ensure that security personnel are stationed Figim Mahi. In a daring and well-coordinated offensive, Nigerian military forces have successfully decimated a large group of terrorists fleeing Zamfara State into Niger State, following a series of precision airstrike and a fierce ground assault. Credible defense intelligence sources confirmed that the joint operation, comprising Nigerian Air Force, assets and ground troops, was launched under the code name Operation Fansenyama. The mission was triggered after security operatives intercepted communications detailing the movement of terrorists attempting to establish new hideouts in Niger and potentially Kwara states. According to intelligence gathered, the terrorists riding in large convoys of motorcycles were flushed out of their strongholds in Zamfara by persistent aerial bombardment. In response, a meticulously planned counter-offensive was launched. Nigerian Air Force aircraft executed targeted airstrikes on known routes and forest enclaves, driving the fleeing terrorists into a pre-designated zone where ground forces lay in wait. Captain David Adiusi, the spokesperson for Operation Fansenyama, confirmed the success of the operation. The victory is seen as a significant milestone in the fight against banditry and terrorism, and a strong signal that the Nigerian armed forces remain resolute in their mission to secure the nation. In a moment of high drama at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, Nigerian immigration officers briefly seized the international passport of Senator Natasha H. Akpoti-Uduaghan in the early hours of Wednesday, July 24, 2025. The senator, who represents Kogi Central in the National Assembly, arrived at the airport alongside her husband, Chief Emmanuel Uduaghan, ready to board a British Airways flight to London. However, just before the boarding commenced, she was abruptly stopped by officials of the Nigeria Immigration Service, who flagged her as a national security risk. Despite the disruption, Senator Natasha reportedly remained calm and assertive, challenging the officer's decision to confiscate her passport without legal grounds. The incident has raised eyebrows across political and civil society circles, with critics questioning the growing trend of using security agencies for alleged political intimidation. While no formal statement has been issued by the Nigeria Immigration Service or the Senate President's Office, the episode has reignited public debates on the misuse of institutional power in Nigeria's democratic space. And that's all we have for today's package. On behalf of the production team, Head of News and Current Affairs, I am Rahama Ibrahim Dusera, saying bye for now.